Hey guys, this is the Cardfight podcast with Domino Paris, Anthony, and welcome back, Mark.
Hello. It's been
Hey,
a
yo.
while.
Gonna say, it's been a while for sure, Mark. It's been a couple months.
Yeah. It was
Mhm.
very long, very busy few months for me. So
I mean, that's totally fair.
very yeah. It's all good though. Life happens and you do things, so it's all good.
Of course. And it's
Yeah,
been
life's been
about
busy for us.
it's been about 2 weeks. What has everyone been up to Vanguard update wise?
I mean, I've been doing a lot of workshopping and sort of just looking at every card and a few different clans, and like obviously, like I don't know about you guys, but I've been seeing some of the new standard reveals and getting a little excited over that. um and seeing the BSF format announcements, which I'm sure we will all
Oh,
get into at a later time in this episode,
actually, yeah, that's a good
because
idea.
I have some thoughts that
Got them
I
dots.
yeah,
Feeling.
as the great man once said, I have a lot of things I want to get off of my chest. So, but yeah, that's how I feel about it. Obviously, I'm sure you guys have things that you've been working on in the past few weeks.
Anthony, what have you been up to?
Let's see. I finally finished building Gendiva. Tried it out. Got my butt whooped for a while. We won like few games.
Good catch.
Wait. 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 I didn't see the BSF format yet. I'll check it out
Yeah,
later, I guess.
yeah. I'll send it to you. But it is a doozy. It is a doozy.
Wait, is it really?
It is, yeah. It's You'll see. We'll talk about it.
And
Hmm.
Gabe, have you been up to anything for the past 2 weeks for Vanguard wise?
I mean, I was, of course, in heavy anticipation for Blangdemeyer Nexus. We finally got it. He's actually, on paper, it doesn't seem like too crazy, but then,
He's really good.
there, there's a lot
Yeah.
of things. There's a lot of things that
I'm super excited
he
for it.
addresses. I'm excited for it. I think he's good. I think Blangdemeyer will be a well-respectable deck
Yeah. Oh, for
moving
sure.
forward in the
Yeah.
meta.
There was too many Blang bros around, so I decided to rotate mine out. There's too many in our locals. I was like, yeah, I'm done.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
No, there's like I remember like I did a head count, right? Like at the locals at
Mhm.
Boba, we had about 24 people that day, and I was like, hey, hands up for anyone that's gonna play the new Blang Demar. There was about 9 people with a hand up. I was like, yeah, nope.
Including me.
That is
Yep.
about a third. Yeah, that's a lot for sure.
I was like,
No,
nope.
I've actually been really excited for Magnolia.
Ooh, that deck is really good.
I found out I thought I did not have a lot of Magnolia. I found out I had literally everything, all the expensive cards. The only thing I was missing was the 4 copies of the tomato, the promo.
Oh yeah, you
And
finally
then
got one
I
from me.
yeah, I finally yeah, so one of the people at Boba, bless their heart, uh we just never got a chance to connect to grab it. So eventually he gave it to David, and I finally got my 4th tomato, which I immediately traded to someone for their non-foil version because that was a foil version, and I like uniformity above all things.
I mean, that's
But yeah, no,
fair.
I finally have my playset of all the expensive Magnolia cards. I have a playset, like I have a Stoicheia split for set 8. It's what I'm going to be playing for BSF. I'm sure Gabe is going to be playing Blangdemeyer because it doesn't seem like he want to play anything else. And I don't know what you're going to be planning for BSF, Anthony, but I'm sure that it involves some kind of Dark States deck or Blangdemeyer exactly.
It's either gonna be
AJ.
Bragmire or Odium.
Yeah.
Or if maybe
Odium is
Varga.
actually solid. If the banlist hits, Odium's actually solid.
Yeah. Well, if both of them
Hey.
fails, I got Varga.
Hey, now. I have Levy as a backup as well.
Gabe, let's be honest with ourselves here. If Blangmeyer is tier 2 or above, you're playing that deck over Levy,
I
bro.
mean,
Let's be
I
real.
won't,
No,
I
Gabe.
won't,
Gabe's playstyle is Levy though.
do it.
Gabe loves the Levy playstyle though.
He might love the Levy playstyle, but his heart belongs to
That's fair.
Blangmeyer.
I
He
mean,
does have the darker
Exactly.
soul. Yeah.
I guess, like, theoretically, right? speaking of BSF, if you just want to get this out of the way now.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, cool. So the Bushiroad Summerfest, the new way they're doing BSF now, was announced. Obviously, we knew about it before. You guys talked about it on the podcast like a month ago or so, whenever that schedule dropped. So we knew the locations. We did not know the formats.
Yep.
And one of the things that happened when they announced Summerfest is a lot of people were like, whoa, Lyrical Cup. Like Lyrical Cup or Premium. Like people were very concerned about those that being a thing, because it feels a lot like number one, a lot of people don't play Lyrical. Lyrical is the most expensive nation to play right now in the standard format, in D format. Number one. Number two, they took away teams for Premium, and they didn't have teams for Lyrical Cup either. Thank God, because that would have been like everybody would have had like $1,800 decks. And it feels a lot like last year, where it felt like it doesn't feel like we've been getting a lot of premium support. They kind of took V out back and killed it. And the first step to that was taking away V in the Springfest format. It became tri-format, which did not go over very well. Not a lot of people were really thrilled about it. It kind of was awkward, didn't feel right. So when they announced these, that we were doing Premium or Lyrical Cup for the second day of these tournaments, a lot of people were like, okay, well, maybe it'll just be like 2 or 3. And a lot of devil's advocacy and like, oh, maybe it won't be so bad. However, there are, I believe, 3. Yeah, so the 3 most populated premium tournaments in the last calendar year for BCS was Vancouver, Philly, Toronto, and I think Rosemont was 4, right?
Yep.
Huge turnouts, 300-ish players, which when Standard was pulling in like 450, 500, that's a big number of players that are playing the premium format. None of those locations got premium. All of them got Lyrical Cup. It does not feel like Bushiroad had intention behind where they chose the locations. Like a lot of people are saying that it feels like they just took darts and just threw on the dartboard. They're like, all right, Philly, and they threw it, and it's like, oh, Lyrical Cup, baby, let's go. So I think that there's 2 reactions to this. There's I've seen a lot of Lyrical players who are like Lyrical mains, Bermuda Triangle mains since day one, like Festival Divas booster, who are like, I'm so sorry, I feel really bad, because they know, because the thing is even if you take away Premium, Bermuda Triangle players can still play Bermuda Triangle. Lyrical players can still play their deck in Premium, right? Premium players, there's a segment of Premium players that don't play Standard because they like Standard. They play Standard because it's just like, well, I'm already here for Premium, I might as well play Standard. So I don't think we talked about this at all, David, like one-on-one, but I know a lot of people from our locals that were going to go up for both days in Philly are not going up for both days in Philly. They're just going up for the one day, and they're leaving either that Saturday or they're leaving Sunday morning. They're not staying for the second tournament. So it's really a it's not a very popular decision right now. Of course, there's like the 20 like people that are like, haha, get over it, premium players, lyrical supremacy, and like, whatever. If you truly take like joy in like premium players' misery, like, sure, man, like, you got it, but it's really disappointing, especially because they just gave us something we'll talk about later, which was this crazy new ban list that really feels like, even though the format became more volatile, it really opened it up and really gave us more things to do in the format than what we had before. So from our perspective, I'm not going to speak for all premium players, but for a lot of premium players who play Standard as a byproduct of the format, it feels kind of like we put in the work, right? Where we showed up in droves to these tournaments to prove to Bushiroad, like, yo, we love this format. We are all about it. We want this format to succeed. We want better pricing for it. We want this to be supported for a very long time. And it just feels like a slap in the face, you know? It's very unfortunate. And it cut down a lot of us who were going to go to 3 or 4 BCSs or BSFs this year. We're going to 1.
I'm
I was planning
I'm assuming the one is Georgia.
No, so I'm actually going to Philly. Philly's the only one I'm going to. Maybe
I thought
Toronto
you would go to
is.
Georgia because of the premium.
So I might be going to Toronto. It all depends.
Toronto
It's
has
just a price
premium,
thing.
right?
Toronto also has premium. It'll just be depending on price. Whichever one is cheaper for me is the one I'm going to do. The only reason I wouldn't do Georgia over
Next week
Toronto
is Philly.
is 2 weeks from Philly. Yeah, so it's very, very close. Money,
It's too tight.
you know. Yeah, and it's relatively close to when we're getting into winter and holidays and stuff and presents and things like that. But yeah, no, that's that's our take as a premium player base. That's how it feels to us. It kind of feels like we were kind of thrown by the wayside, and it doesn't really feel like we have been respected. And ironically enough, the graphic that most people have seen by now, showing which tournament has what, was actually made by me on my phone at 5 o'clock in the morning when the list was released. You'll see like it's just like a screenshot with like blue P's and blue L's. That's me. I made that at like 5 in the morning. So but that's my take on Summer Fest or whatever. I'd love to hear your guys' takes, because I know, David, you said you changed your plans as well, right?
Okay. Yeah, so I guess I'll go since he kind of put me on the spotlight anyway. So my opinion on the whole list, after like Mark sends me the screenshot of the P's and L's, it took me a minute. I was like, wait, this was really early in the morning, by the way, and I was like, what the heck's going on? And then I was like, oh, hold on, P and L? Oh, lyrical and premium? And I looked at the last one, right? Because that was my whole intention, is like, that's the one I am gonna go. And I saw the list. I was like, wait, no premium on Philly? That was crazy, on my opinion, because Philly had probably one of the most outcomes for premium. So it was very surprising that they did that. So like I was even talking to Gabe that we should change our plans now. So I think like what we were originally gonna do is originally we were gonna play both standard and premium. But now that we don't have premium, I was gonna maybe play the side event and just go home, is ideally what I'm thinking. And I think I was joking to Mark, I'll just play the lyrical tournament for the packs. But me, Gabe, and Chris were talking about it because we're gonna be in the same car, and we're like, you know what? Let's just do the side event and dip, because like Mark was like kind of jokingly saying is like we shouldn't like up their numbers for it, which I was kind of thinking about it on the way. I was like, not a bad idea. Because I feel
I
like
think
that.
it just,
I feel like if we participate and drop, we still count.
Yeah, so it just feels to me like if we do that, right,
We're
just
supporting that,
justifying. Yeah, we're just justifying their decision to them from their eyes.
And
right?
Mark already knows. Like I really hate lyrical cup because I own no lyrical decks. Obviously, is one, but the fact that it's locked to one nation is very difficult to play. In a tournament settings. And like
absolutely.
I said, no disrespect for people that play the decks, right? Because a lot of the guys that play the decks, like there's some cool guys. Like Yafet is really cool, and he he really likes his lyrical decks, and I respect it. But at the same time, it's like it's not a format I particularly enjoy because it's locked to one one clan, and if you don't own it, then unfortunately for you, then you can't play it. So
definitely.
And then my change of plan was a different reason though. It wasn't really because of the whole list. It was because I have a lot of personal things going on until the fall, and I actually would like to focus more on the singles tournament. As much as I love teams, I think for this year I do want to try to get a top for this year individually, not as a team. I'm not saying like I wouldn't want to win as a team, but I would like to focus as an individual at first before like I can like have fun as a team to top. And I've actually been picking up Keter decks because I feel like that Keter was like what I was really good with. in the past, and I was like, okay, well, I do want to top, so let's go ahead and pick up tier decks and try to top. So that's where I'm at. And then I
Yeah,
think
definitely.
for teams, like I'm not like really like I will do my best because I am teaming up with Gabe and Chris Chung, but at the same time, like I do really want to make sure I top in individual formats, and that's also one of the reasons why I actually been practicing premium a little bit too. Um, because that once day two is there and there is a premium format, I want a deck that has a very good chance of potentially making top.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, like premium, if I make top, it'll be great. But I think like I've been out of the loop a little too long for premium, so
Yeah, I mean, you and Gabe have been steadily dipping your toes back in and like kind of learning and finding your own way in the format. And
I remember I got yelled at Rudy for playing Spike Strong.
yeah,
I remember
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But the thing is, I was like,
Well,
hey,
yeah,
listen, I just got the deck like yesterday. Give me a bit. I'm trying to learn the
yeah.
cards.
Well, I also remember. I think that was the day that you guys had Valios revived on first stride. And you were like, yeah, like
Oh
it
yeah,
really
yeah.
helps the pressure. And we're like, oh, you need 2 phase up in your G-zone for that to work.
But
And Gabe was
listen,
just like, oh yeah, it does need 2 phase up.
listen. It's my fault, but at the same time, like I've been out of the loop for a long time, so I was a heavy premium player before I left the game. So try to get everything back. I'm trying to learn interactions. But
Yeah, no, definitely.
overall, the list for that we have for BSF, as much as like the standard part is exciting, I am very disappointed on the day
Yeah,
twos listing. Is my overall thoughts. Sorry, I took a little
yeah.
too long on that.
No, you're fine, bro.
Gabe, Anthony, anyone want to chime in on your thoughts for the BSF?
So like my absolute worst nightmare has come true. Bermuda Triangle. Well, one Bermuda Triangle. What is it? Seceded away from Cray, and now they want to go live on a whale and be their own thing because they're too good for everything else. And then now they have their own damn format. It's already enough they get front loaded all their damn supported one freaking set, and because they're such a money grabber for Bushi, it's like, hey, let's give them a whole entire format because we have enough weebs that play that will throw money at this format, and so be it. They have, and god
We're all
dang man,
weeds in
now
the first place, but anyways, go on.
nah.
Yeah,
I kid, but man, it is kind of disappointing that like we have to pick and
yeah,
choose between like premium and because I was highly disappointed because I was actually very excited to like play
Yep,
premium, like to get more
yeah.
focused
yep.
on it.
I
Because
felt, yeah,
Rosemont, I wasn't like as focused because I wasn't prepared, but I felt like, man, you know what? I think I can do this.
Yeah,
But
that's how
then
I
no,
felt too at Rosemont.
yeah.
yeah,
No, Rosemont is a sick location. It's just unfortunate I won't get to
yeah.
go this year, unless it's BCS. That's the other thing too, right? Is like now, like I would love to go to like a lot of BSFs if they had premium, right? But now I'm just like, well, I
Let's
could
save the
go to
money
3 or
and
4
yeah,
BSF and I'll just go for BCS, right?
yeah. Let's
And
save the
just
money for
hope and
BCS.
pray and plead that they don't give us Lyrical Cup at BCS. Because if they do that, it's never been more Jover, dog. Like it'll be
Like
so Jover.
Bushi, I don't expect much from them.
Yeah, and
Jover.
like the thing is like a part of it I know has to do with the fact that Bushiroad English can't do anything without Bushiroad Japan or Bushiroad in Singapore's office. So like it's really tough for them to be like, we'd rather not. Because I know that like a lot of times my issues with Bushiroad stem directly not from the Bushiroad English, because Bushiroad English has like no power at all. They are told what to do, they are told what to print, they can suggest things, but 90% of the time they're like, no, make it up. If you want to do something else, go to your make your own company. And it's just like so rough, man. Like it's so rough because like Bushiroad English has been like really wanting to. I remember Bushiroad English really is the one that had to push for Revival Selection. First of all, shout out to Revival Selection for making premium affordable. Because if it wasn't for Revival Selection, a lot of us wouldn't be playing premium right now.
Yep.
Because that format would be super expensive. I remember when I first got into the game again with V format, and even a little bit probably in June 2020-ish, in 2020 timeframe, I remember looking at the price of Vanguard cards because I would always kind of keep my ear to the ground when it came to Vanguard. Even if I wasn't playing, I'd always kind of pop in every once in a while, see deck profiles and stuff. And I remember seeing Crayon Tigers at $30, and I'm just like, I'm not spending $120
Yep.
on this game for 4 cards. And that was before like that's not even like SPs or anything. That's just like minimum rarity. But thanks to revival selection, like that set was terrible for stores, incredible for the player base. There are very few sets that I think have been so player friendly as revival selection. Like I don't think we've had a set since, or honestly, maybe even
History
before,
collection was
like
good
revival
too.
selection. History collection was really good, but the difference is number one, the card packs weren't great, and number two, the ratios.
Yeah.
In a revival selection box, you are guaranteed one copy of each card in the set.
Yep.
So you can buy. I did this. I bought 4 boxes from a store for $25 myself. I had everyone pay me $5 per split. Anthony remembers this. And everyone, you chose a nation, $5, and you get whatever cards are in there. And I literally went through and I opened up the promos were like Dust, Stark, Zoa. I don't remember what the fourth one was, right? But it doesn't really matter. There was a Zeroth Dragon, but everyone got all of their whatever they wanted. I spent $90. 24 clans times 5 is $96 or whatever the number is, right? So everyone got a playset of every card in that set for whatever clan they wanted for $5. That is like such a bargain deal for most of those cards, right? Not even just for the play, like for Great Nature players because of the price of Grand Tiger going down, but like just getting staples for your clan, right, is just so huge. Like Blue Bellies, there were Shaharits in the DI one, Gastiel Daimonos, even though it's banned now. But like those sets, like that's not necessarily what premium needs. It needs new product, right? But that product specifically, I think is, I don't want to say solely responsible, but I think is the first domino that fell to make premium as popular as it is because it made it so much more accessible.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes
Like
sense.
premium is almost cheaper than standard now, which is a wild thing to say. And I know we say this like every few months, but it's actually kind of insane that your eternal format is cheaper than your standard format.
Yeah, premium
So
is a
it,
little cheaper than standard, I think.
yeah,
Except for
The
like the top
economies
tier
have
ones.
shifted.
yeah,
Yep.
it's really cool, honestly. And I think that the big thing is, and I'm not saying that it's right to be all doom and gloom about premium and like losing it potentially, but I think that Bushiroad has to be very careful with how they handle the next like 2 years when it comes to premium
Yeah.
support, because not to say that like everyone's going to quit the game, but the reason why Vanguard initially became so popular is because people were very unhappy with Yu-Gi-Oh, and Vanguard was another way that felt very similar in a lot of ways, and it was like around the same price point, and it felt like the game was healthier. And if we're going to do like, history repeats itself if you don't learn from it. So it will be very telling if Bushiroad just decides to go gung ho with this lyrical cup thing and just, neuter the premium events or axe premium entirely, because there will be a significant number of players that stop playing Vanguard. I will be one of them. Full disclosure, if premium is no longer a supported format, I will no longer play the game, because number one, that is the format I enjoy the most. And like obviously like community led events are like one thing, but community level events are not something that's going to keep me wanting to play the game. And the other thing is it would make me lose trust in the company as a consumer. And I feel like once customers lose trust in the company that they're consuming from, they stop buying from them and they stop supporting that company. So a lot of people have been mentioning that they think the Lyrical Cup is a soft launch for HoloLive, because a lot of the people that are excited about the HoloLive TCG are also lyrical players. So they're trying to see like, oh, maybe we can squeeze HoloLive in here.
I can't really say anything.
I mean,
And
I'll play I actually want to play Hololive.
Yeah,
I think for me, it's one
Yeah.
of those things where like I would just not, like, me personally, right? I can't speak for anyone else, but I think for me, if Bushiroad acts premium for another card game, I would just stop playing Bushiroad card games in general. Like I would find another thing to do with my time, you know. But that's just me, right? And like Hololive card game looks super sick. I'm sure the gameplay is awesome, right? Hololive is cool. VTubers are sick. I just, for me, like I want to play premium and I want the format that I enjoy to be supported. And for me, standard doesn't grab me enough in terms of the gameplay pattern that it makes me want to keep playing that format, even if there's no premium support at BCS.
See, Mark, it's interesting that you bring up these points because these were points I talked about right before premium even was a thing. I remember a conversation. I don't know if you were, I don't know how, long you were around, but I remember a conversation that circulated around the community was because when I would say the peak power creep of Vanguard is when we got Angel Geese. No, not Angel Geese, excuse me.
Yeah.
We got Gize at the dawn of V, because Gize was kind of manageable. I mean, that was the end of G, so obviously, that's going to be like your main deck for end of G. But then when V came, like no one had a chance to deal with it because of protect markers and yada yada with OTT.
Yeah.
So that's where conversations came up. It's like, okay, the game has blown itself up with the power creep. There has to be some kind of reset because you can't. Because the difficulty with strides is that once strides represents the peak power of Vanguard, so you can't just say, "Oh, all strides are banned," right? So the only way to do it is you have to reset and make a new format, or make a rotation, have rotations, right? And I know that was a controversial subject years ago, probably still now, where people were bringing up, well, Vanguard needs to have a rotation. It's old enough to where like we have to rotate stuff out, and it'll keep things fresh.
Yeah.
So I know like a lot of people didn't like at first, having a premium format and then having a standard format, and then there was like a V format or whatever, but that was after V. But what I always said was like by default, every game has like a legacy format. And by default, because it's like, well, what are you supposed to do with these like old cards? Like you have to give some kind of usage for people who bought old cards, because whatever cards I buy now, I feel like they're literally are just going to depreciate and be useless like later, because at least because I know because the mindset of some players it's like, well, I'll get into this nation and maybe down the road if I want to play premium I can like use these and maybe later for a possible premium deck. So premium has to exist because by default players, even if you play standard now, all the cards you have now will eventually be premium cards because new stuff will come out. A new format would reset, so everything you have would naturally go over to premium. So like if you want to think long term, like I think premium should be something that should be supported because by default we all are gonna have premium eventually, whether you are a standard main or not. With that being said, that does bring up another conversation of because you mentioned Hololive TCG, Bushiroad. It's the same when Bushiroad tried to do Luck and Logic and Buddy Fight. There are way too many damn events, way too many damn card games to kind of have in one weekend. So then it was like kind of like that. Like they always interchanged, which events had what. And I know a lot of Buddy Fight players were disappointed by that. And then there's Dragoborn, which people forgot, and they end up having to axe some of these games. So, I like Hololive TCG, but it's like I think it's just too much. There's too much, too many games. But Mark, what if? Like this is just me shooting a few ideas. One, it's like A or B, right? It's like one, would you rather see like maybe a rotation going on moving forward, or maybe just a yearly annual Fighters Collection premium set that comes along with a few deck sets like they did with like Jewel Knights and such? And or I would think that maybe you should just have dedicated weekends for premium.
I mean, I think the thing that I would prefer, right, ideally is like a combination of those two. Like if the argument I've seen this argument a lot that Bushiroad supports standard more than premium because premium players don't buy as much of the new product, which is totally fair and a very valid argument for a business to make, right? Number one, I don't think people should be making arguments for businesses. That's a bit weird. That's a whole other thing. But I would love for them to do like a premium set every year. It doesn't have to be like a massive set like History Collection. It can just be more premium. Like, just give us one premium collection a year, maybe some premium deck sets to spice up the format a little bit. So maybe I guess 2 premium products a year. Just like a clan collection in like maybe spring, and then for the fall, right before BCS season, give us like a little like 3 deck sets or something like we got last year. And then honestly, I would have no issues if Bushiroad decided, like, they did the thing that Pokemon used to do, where some regional weekends are just going to be like premium is the Saturday, and then the next week is going to be standard on a Saturday. Like, alternate your tournaments. Because if you really, if the end goal here is to make it so that we're supporting all these card games that Bushiroad is implementing, right? You've got Godzilla and Hololive within the next 6 months. Um, I think that's a way to do it. You just give us a couple premium products a year, maybe, and then just alternate standard and premium on BCSs. I think that's a happy medium, because then I think premium players will be like okay with it. I think a lot of it legit has to do with what premium is getting replaced with. Like, getting replaced with Lyrical Cup feels really bad,
Yeah,
right?
it's weird because like I don't understand. Like, for one, I don't think Vanguard and Weiss should be the same day. Like, I think Weiss should just have its own regional event, and then you can literally have Vanguard Standard and like, well, you technically can have Weiss in the same day. Actually, technically, you can have
Yeah, I was
Vanguard
gonna say
Standard,
I was about to
Vanguard
disagree with that because
Weiss.
Weiss is too
Well,
small.
Vanguard Standard, like Vanguard Standard, Vanguard Standard and Weiss in the same day as Saturday, and then Sunday. I don't know why you just don't have Premium and Lyrical in the same day.
Well, they want to have Shadowverse too.
Yeah, they need
Yeah.
Shadowverse. That's the main thing.
I
Yeah.
believe they are.
So
They are. As often as I don't like to do this, I will run defense for Bushiroad. I'm fairly certain they're contractually obligated to have Shadowverse.
Yeah.
I know. I actually forgot all about it.
Yeah, which, you know, I think the most effective way to make your voice heard on this subject, right? Make a civil conversation. Don't threaten Bushiroad employees, because that's weird, right? Like, Joe Smith working in Bushiroad's office is just like doing graphic design. Did not make this decision, so don't like harass Bushiroad employees, right?
Sir, this is a Wendy's.
Yeah, exactly, right? I think the most effective thing to do, if you're unhappy with this decision, is if you really want to play teams, go to teams on Saturday. Wherever city you're in, if you are not close to home, right? Go explore it. Like, I think oftentimes we don't explore the world enough, so I think that's a cool thing you can do. And then if you want to go to premium, the next day, if there's a premium, go to premium. If you don't want Bushiroad to make money or to see a good player turnout for Lyrical, if you don't want more Lyrical Cups, don't go to them. I've seen a lot of people say, like, oh, I'm going to enter and drop. Like, and that's not, I'm not saying you're wrong for doing that, right? I understand entering for the promo and dropping, but if you enter and drop, the player number doesn't matter, because they're still going to see that player number initial. That initial, 400 players is going to be what they see, and they're like, oh, Lyrical Cup, fantastic. Premium only had 350. Look at all these Lyrical players we have. They want more Lyrical Cup.
Well, here's another thing to add to that, Mark. It could be like maybe a shift towards your point, but it's more of because I'm also thinking of like because the way we leverage things as a consumer is if we like something, we buy into it more. They see that we're buying into it more, they will be convinced to support it more. But the only problem is there's nothing to buy for premium to even show Bushi like, hey, we're willing to throw money at this because any money that we're throwing in premium now, it's like when you buy used cars, right? You buy a used car, that money's
Yep,
not going back to Honda or Toyota. This is going back. It's already been paid for once. So
it's
there's
all
like,
secondary market.
and because theoretically, the reason why they made Lyrical Cup in the first place is because Lyrical sets, they have their own set and they make so much damn money. Like they sell a lot. So they can go look at the business sales numbers and say, hey, yeah, there's a lot of people buying this product. There's a lot of demand for it. It's
Yeah,
good
because
enough to
once a
have its
year.
own format. But the problem with premium is that it's hard for us to leverage as consumers to show Bushi like, hey, we are willing to throw money at you for premium stuff because there's no sealed product to really buy other than the stuff that came out 2 years ago. And like I don't know. It's I guess like because the people who are going to be in the Lyrical Cup, they're already going to play. It's like saying who you. It's like saying, oh, I wonder who you're going to vote for. Like, look, the people who are going to
Yeah.
vote for this are going to already vote for that. It doesn't matter. Like, you're not convincing them not to. It's just it sucks because like it's one thing if Bushiroad did do what we asked, right? Like they have a lot of premium product every year and no one's buying it. There's good
Yeah.
merit to say, well, yeah, no one's buying it, so why are we doing it? But they're not even giving a chance because I'm sure I wasn't around, of course, but from what I've heard, like the last Fighters collection, yeah, it was pretty popular, right? Like people were buying it, people loved
Yeah.
it,
Dude,
had good
History
reception.
Collection went
Or excuse me, history
crazy.
collection. Yeah,
It
so
went
I'm just
absolutely crazy.
and I don't think it's a lot. And the thing is too, considering the ban list, with premium, which I'm sure we will get
Yeah.
to, but like it shows because I remember like people were talking about it in the Reddit forums or like Facebook groups or whatever about it, and people were laughing. It's like, man, that's way too much. They're not going to do all that crap, but they did do it, and
Yeah.
and I know for sure they consulted with people from the community to get ideas. So that means that they are listening to people in the community, that there is a communication channel for it. So I'm just saying, we as consumers, I mean, where can we even leverage ourselves with our money to
Yep.
say we want this? Because also on the opposite end, if they make stuff we don't like, we just don't buy it and it'll hit their wallet because these events, these regional events, they actually are a money pit for Bushiroad. It's like they're
Yeah.
not really making money doing these, so it's like it's hard to say like, well, let's not go to regionals. And Bushiroad's like, okay, well, I mean, we're not making money off of you coming here, so that it's a tough position. I'm just
Yeah.
wondering if there's any other way to the way I can really even see it is like we can encourage more people to get into premium, but there
Yeah.
has to be some kind of community because the fact is they listen to the player base. I think for the ban list, there has to be a communication channel that we can kind of like utilize or maybe try to use to show that we want to. But I don't know.
Yeah.
This is a difficult position to be in. So
No, I agree. I think I don't know if David, you want to follow that or
Yeah.
just
I
kind of
have a I
roll
have a
that.
couple I want to throw at. I was kind of
Yeah.
listening because I wanted to see what you guys were gonna push towards
Yeah.
this topic. So I do have another question added to this after like my
Sure.
opinion on it.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple things. I kind of agree-ish with Mark's opinion. Like now, like kind of what Gabe said. Now I'm kind of thinking about it. I think what premium players should do, is instead of like what's the word? Like obviously, like not showing the participation for the Lyrical Cup is an ideal way to show them that we're not interested. But I
Yeah.
also think what premium players should do is they should like go to the events and make those events bigger, like in numbers instead. Like I know that it sucks, but I think
Yeah.
that's the best way to prove that we do not care about this format. Because like let's say I don't know, let's say people did participate, right? Because I'll be honest, most of the people that play standard only, right, they are gonna play the Lyrical Cup just because of the promo, right? Because most people's mindset is I want the free promo, so there's no way of stopping them. So the only ideal way I can think of is to increase the number of premiums. So instead of having like 300, now like because that there's limited premium format tournaments, now like the participation should be like 500-600 instead. And I think like
yeah,
that's like the most ideal way to show them that we are participating, and but we do not care about the lyrical tournament, is to show them in a different way. I think like because the problem is that people that play standard only are going to participate in lyrical cup, and I'm not going to say like it's going to be the same number as standard, but the problem is that people that are participating for standard only are going to participate in day 2 since they're there already, so there's no way that we can inflate that number. The only number that we can inflate is the premium tournaments that are going on, like in Georgia. I think you were saying Toronto, like locations like that. Is the places that we can inflate. But one thing that I see that Bushiroad did that was kind of unfortunate is that they were like kind of giving the premium locations to like locations that don't really play premium in the first place, like Puerto Rico or like Mexico, I think, was another one, and I know that those numbers are really small. Like I remember the Puerto Rico one only had like maybe less than 100 players for a premium, so it's not really a good way of saying like I feel and like I think this is a topic I want to kind of talk about now that I'm kind of getting into that range. Do you think that Bushiroad is intentionally trying to kill premium? And I just kind of want your opinions on that since we were kind of on that topic ish.
I don't see the thing is like I don't think they're trying. I don't believe in like that because I hear this in sports all the time too. Like, do you think this team's trying to lose? Do you think they're trying to sabotage? I don't think a business is going to try and just self sabotage themselves in that way. If they just
No.
don't, if they just want to cut it loose, they'll just say, "Hey, we're not doing this anymore."
Yeah,
If
I mean,
anything, like I think it's just businesses react based on what data they are getting back. Because
yeah,
if they're making a lot of money on premium, why the hell would they not want to do it, right? Like that's just that makes no sense in a business standpoint. Um I just I think there are other see, David, you bring up a good point of like trying to max out where they do have it, but another data area that I think they could be looking at, I don't know fully, but locals, you know, the Bushi Navi app, how many people are actually participating in
Ah, yeah.
premium locals across the nation or across the
yeah,
app comparatively? Because it's like because I mean, if you think about it, if we talk about other locals, most locals don't even run premium, so it's like it's very few locals to do it. And the one thing when I heard about the app, the Bushi Navi app, for the first time coming back into the game, and I see how you have to do everything through it, immediately in my head, I already knew immediately that they most likely may use it as a as like a their own data because when you don't have it, I mean, you kind of you're not really sure fully. And regionals,
yeah,
I don't think is a good representation of that because it's a free tournament and people will just come anyway, and there's not so many of them. But across local, but you now you could look things in the local level, like okay, like how popular is this stuff? So my
yeah,
guess is that there's not a lot of locals running premium, and they're not seeing a lot of count, so they're just saying, well, I don't think there's a lot of players out there. Well, so we'll just spread it out and not do it for every single one, and I'm sure enough people will show up. So I think it's more like that. They're just not seeing that it's growing. I think they're just seeing that hey, there's not enough players supporting this, and but I see a lot of people freaking love buying Bermudas. So let's just see how this lyrical format goes. I think that's more
yeah,
like how it is. And this is not me trying to like defend a business or anything. This is just me analyzing things in an objective standpoint. And also, like, yeah, you kind of have to kind of put yourself in Bushiroad's shoes and kind of think like, if I'm running this business, you know, what data points am I looking at to refer to,
yeah.
and how do I make my decisions on? I don't like I say, if they just want to kill the format, they'll just say, yeah, we're not doing this anymore. It's same thing. They did that for V series for V premium. So I don't know. That's how I see it. But I don't know. What were you saying, Mark? Sorry.
No, you're good, you're good. I just think like it's rough, man. Like I really think that it feels like we every time with Bushy Road with premium, it's like we take 3 steps forward and like 5 back in terms of like support, right? When we got history collection, we're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like this refreshed the format. It killed the ride down mechanic, which for a lot of players was very, very frustrating, and it was really, really just something they did not want to deal with. It breathed new life into all these like nostalgic units. Like earlier, I'm a Great Nature player, and like, you guys were like, yeah, man, the Panda deck was so cool. Like, and it's like, yeah, the Panda deck was cool, but like it was like almost unplayable until we got History Collection. Like the amount of just goodness the History Collection brought us is just cannot be understated, right? Um, and it just feels like the next year it's like, all right, we didn't get a whole lot. We got the 3 decks, which that those are good starting points for players to get in. Like even now, right? Those go for $60. Elementaria by itself, $30 card. Boom. You get half of your money back off of one card immediately. Then, depending on what deck you bought, 2 of those strides are $15 to $20 cards. One of those strides is a $10 card. However, the $10 card is already a playset. Also, in addition, you got a Harmonics Messiah, which you absolutely need to play premium. Boom, right there.
Yep.
You've already, all of the money you spent is already made back to you. There are people I know that bought those premium decks for Elementaria and Harmonix Messiah alone. And they just sold the decks off for like $15 to someone who wanted to learn how to play premium. It's like those were such a good product. And then we got this amazing ban list, which again we're gonna talk about soon, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like amazing ban list, good products, and we're cutting half of the teams. The thing is the thing that I don't know if this is how you guys feel, but I think that number one, making an individual is super lame because to me, the fun thing about going to a BSF is it's a weekend. I get to play Vanguard with my friends, like at a table. Like there's so many fun things that like so many good stories just from playing with two of your other friends on like to the left of you and to the right of you, like just jamming a bunch of games against other teams and like just trying to have fun with your homies and like losing that for singles just feels kind of bad, right? And there are lyrical players that have expressed the same sentiment. They're like, they don't even care about like premium or whatever, but they just wish that it was a team event for lyrical, which again, like that would be sick. Like the whole thing is we had Bushiroad's the cool thing that Bushiroad has always done is they've had one season where every event was a team event, and they've had one season where every event is an individual event. Those are the ones you qualify for Worlds. The teams event is more so just for bragging rights with you and your buddies. And it just feels like we got very off the rails with Summerfest this year. And I think it's a small misstep. I do think Bushiroad can recover from it next year. Because I don't think anything that we do now is changing that schedule this year. But I do think next year they will probably see the discontent and they will probably give us team events for all the games that we have on both days of competition.
Yeah, no, it's good points too. Because, yeah, we just gotta. I don't know, like premium. Honestly, premium is its own separate game. Like basically.
Yeah.
Compared to standard. I mean, their world's different, and I think really we have to encourage more people to like get into premium, try to use what's available to get people interested, and like stop talking about premium and people stop talking about premium like in such negative contrast to standard. That's also what discourages people. Even I'll admit, when I was coming back into the game, I was discouraged with premium too because I just see all the BSery that kind of was generally speaking I'm hearing about, and I'm just like, I'll just get into standard because I'm already kind of familiar with it. It's like basic fundamental Vanguard, I call it. But then the thing with standard is that
it gets boring
standard.
really quick.
Yeah, because like standard at its highest enjoyment for me is going through the process of learning a new deck and building it and finding the right build. And once I get there, I'm kind of like done. I'll just go through the motions of like, hey, let me go play at this high tournament, regionals, and then I'm kind of like done with the deck, and I'm like, whatever. I'm not as encouraged to play. Where premium, yes, you have to get the build going. It's exciting, but then it's also like, dang, now I have to learn this matchup. Oh man, there's like different things. There's a lot more lines to play, so it's and it could be discouraging for people, but like I think it's always good to get people into standard, just because it's like the most basic form of Vanguard fundamentally, and then you can transition people over to premium and say, hey, are you bored? Then learn
absolutely
learn the premium. That's what it was for me. I got bored with standard for a bit because I got everything I need, and I'm like, you know what? Instead of buying more decks in standard, why don't I just build a premium deck or two, and I have 2 formats I can play.
Yeah, and I think another thing about it, right, is to me, I think one of the coolest things about Vanguard as opposed to other games is how different each clan is like aesthetically, right? Like I think
Identity,
that
man.
the identity is like the thing about like standard, and this is no shot at standard, right? It's meant to be a simpler form of like the different representations of Cray and blah blah blah. The different identities. Today, one of our buddies, Jason, he was going through and looking at all the different clans, and he was talking about because he's trying to he goes kind of from deck to deck, doesn't really have one he really feels like kind of is his jam, right?
He's been like
and
that
it's not
since
even
day one.
he's not even like a meta hopper. He just genuinely like hasn't found a clan that kind of just clicks with him, right?
Yeah.
and he is looking through and he's just talking about all these different clan aesthetics. And in my head, I'm like, yeah, there really is a lot of different aesthetics. Like the only ones you could argue are kind of the same are like Murakumo and Nubatama because they're like both kind of ninjas, right? But
I always confuse them too. I'm like, oh,
yeah, they're it's
yeah.
so crazy because there was actually this is like a small tangent, but I promise won't take long. There was a player who almost got DQ'd from a BCS top cut because he had Murakumo PGs, the draw PGs, instead of the Nubatama ones because they look the same. They look so similar. Literally, if you pull them up and look at them right now, I promise you, there's almost no difference except for like the clan name. That's it. Like, it is so similar. Like that, the guy almost got DQ'd, but fortunately, the judges were like, well, obviously he wasn't trying to cheat with the Nubatama draw or
They
Murakumo
function
draw.
the same.
Yeah, and it was literally like the card functioned the same, and they just had him swap it out with one that a vendor had. So, um, but yeah, so I think it was I think that the amount of identity you get with your clan, like when you find a clan that like that's your clan, you vibe with it more than any other clan. You're like generally most people have like I would say like 1 to 3. Me personally, I have like 3. I have Spikes, I have Great Nature, and I have DI. That are like I vibe with all of them for very different reasons. But like when you find your like 2 or 3 clans, like you're like, all right, cool. Like if you go in to the standard card pool, right? You look at it, you're like, that's a pretty big card pool. You look at the premium card pool for any clan, and it's massive. There's so many like little interactions that you can find from even D standard to premium or D standard to like set 1. There's so many niche interactions that you can find just by looking through cards and reading them. And I think that that's such a cool thing about the premium format. And I think that like premium is the format for like tinkerers, like the people who just aren't satisfied with like copying a deck list and playing a deck list. Like they have a like this inherent need to like tinker with things and like mess with them, like take them apart, put them back together again, and like just kind of go from there, right? And I think that that's such a cool thing about premium, especially with this new ban list. I think it is right now, even though some clans got hit a little harder than others. I think that it is just a breath of fresh air for like all of the tinkerers and all of just those who are obsessed with just messing and looking at cards and like trying to find that like one little piece of the puzzle that they hadn't thought of before.
No, I agree. And like, I mean, even going what you say when it comes to identity, I mean, even coming back from Yu-Gi-Oh, you know how like Yu-Gi-Oh, they say, oh yeah, I play hero. I mean, I was a hero player, right? And I was like, I play heroes, but really, I played like Bubble Beat, and it was only like 7 cards that were heroes. The rest were just staples.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
played plants. I played plants, dude. Like, there's only 4 cards that are plants, and you don't even like make plant monsters. They're just like generic staple stuff. So you're not really playing plants. You're just putting an engine in, which is like 5 cards. So and really, you have to
Yeah.
prioritize cards that are recommended for gameplay, even though aesthetically you would like it more. So
Right.
Vanguard is kind of a mix of both, where you can have that compromise of playing what you aesthetically like and still by nature have the whole deck aesthetically pleasing for you, and it functions like it actually functions well. So
Absolutely.
premium just takes it to another level, of course, but it's like I said, premium is more for like players who feel like they want to have more control over the outcome of the game, where it's probably a little bit more, there's a lot more power, a lot more lines of play, but you have more power and you feel like you're in more control. Where standard is you just need to know how to pilot your deck, apply good fundamentals, and just try to get to your win condition, and then you let the game kind of like follow through, and let the game and the variance be the byproduct of what you're already doing. So, it's less control,
Absolutely.
but it's simplified. So I think it's like people feel very comfortable with standard because, it's very comfortable, it's very simple, but I would just encourage more people to play premium and give them like there's something like it just like when I was starting the expanding and seeing out what other decks do, it's actually quite amazing like the amount of like how much more like these decks how much more you can really do and how
Yeah.
empowering it does feel.
Yeah, it's so fun to kind of explore the format.
It's
Did
very
you
hard to
want to?
build decks.
I would say,
Yeah.
I do think like if, like I said, I'm not taking sides. I'm just giving my opinion on the
Yeah.
format, right? So I actually enjoy premium right now, right? Because now that I'm used to the format a little bit, and now I kind of know what's going on, it's a lot easier to play. But I would say like one of the pros and cons, if I and I think like this is something I've talked about before, is standards pro is that it's very easy to get into because it's very simple. It's kind of like how we used to play back in the days, like when we first got like the original Vanguard set, except like they have a ride line, which makes the game a lot more easier to play, right? And obviously there's a lot of fun mechanics like OTs to potentially people that are losing that gives them the winning edge, right? So that's one of the pros of standard. But the cons, I think Gabe was mentioning earlier, it gets boring really, really fast. And I actually play maybe Vanguard once or twice a week the most, depending on the days. Because as Gabe says, like there's nothing really to playtest if you know how to play your decks.
Yeah.
If you have good fundamentals, like I think like that's pretty much what standard is in a nutshell. Premium's pros and cons. I think premium won't get boring because there's so many things to learn. And even if you do learn the things that you learn, the decks can change. And another pro about premium is I think Sean was mentioning earlier, but there was a guy that was playing a Bruce support in premium with the Bruce stride. So he strides into the Bruce card in spikes, and then he plays the D format Bruce stuff and just
Yep. The
aggro.
D. Yeah. Julian. Yep.
So I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting, right? So as you see, like there's a lot of variants that you can try and experiment, and I think that's the fun of premium. If I do have to pick a con, the con of premium is that it's very hard to get into at first. And if you don't have a good community and someone that's really patient to teach a new player how to play, they're never going to get
Yeah.
into it. And to be fair, and I think I've mentioned this before as well, is that I personally did not feel comfortable getting into premium when I was first getting in, because the problem with premium is that the players that play it are all good. So they're not very good at sitting down with a person to explain how the game works. So
Yeah.
unless you have a group of community that is starting with you, like for premium, it's going to be very hard to get into. And I think like that's why at a locals, you need a dedicated person that is willing to teach someone how to play premium to get them in. And I think like the nice thing about our community is that we have a lot of locals and we have a lot of different player base. And I think like the new player base that was starting, we're all getting into premium. So that was like a huge flood of like what 8 to 9 players that got into premium at once. Because they were all starting together, so everyone was at the same level. They didn't feel like a skill difference. So I think like if you have someone like that in the community, like whoever's listening to it, and if you guys have tried to get into premium, that's another good way. Obviously, I think the deck sets were extremely good for that, and I think if they make more of these deck sets, not the standard one where they they encourage the people to play Crest, because I actually think I really hated the Crest, and I actually didn't want to play premium because of the Crest format. But if they make the Revenger, the Jewel Knight type deck sets, I think that will encourage a lot of players to get in, because I think a lot of the players, even now, are buying the premium deck sets just so they can get into premium. So I
Yeah,
would
no,
say,
for sure.
because
Yeah,
one of our
Like,
new
honestly, like,
guys, named Michael, I really like Michael as a person, because one of the things that he does, and a lot of people don't know what he does. I know because I go to locals here and there, and I talk to a lot of people because I like to communicate and I like to be an extrovert. But Michael is one of those people that grabs a whole bunch of people to get into the game with him. That's the type of person Michael is. And now think about it, right? Michael got a whole bunch of people into standard, and that actually increased the amount of people that goes to Kyrios every week because of Michael bringing in the players. Like Gabe will knows, but one of the guys that Michael brought in, it's his name is Jorge. So he was a Yu-Gi-Oh only player for the last 15 years that I've known him. And Michael came out of nowhere and he just brought this guy in. And I've been convincing him for years to play. And Michael did it. So now that Michael is getting to premium, he's probably gonna have to learn it himself, like from one of us. And then he's gonna teach new players how to get in. And that's what I'm saying is every locals need that community guy. And if
Yeah,
you
I
do,
mean,
that's how you expand the format.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
also think that like the good thing about most premium players is if you're a standard player and you ask a premium player how to play premium, they'll be very excited and they'll want you to play premium. Like the one thing that premium players love is more premium players. You
Of
know?
course.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think with the ban list, and like I said, I was mentioning earlier, I really hated the whole crest thing. Like, I actually think it was very bad. And I actually was about to quit premium after Chicago because of the whole crest issue. And I actually think it was very dumb. I was about to quit, and then the ban list happened. And I actually think it's a very good timing to go in now that I'm mentioning it. Because of
Yeah,
the whole
definitely.
ban list, I actually want to play premium. So,
Yeah.
and then go ahead, Mark. You take the lead on this.
Yeah, so the premium ban list, just to make this as short as possible,
No, make it long.
all the crest makers were choice restricted with their G counterparts. However, Luard was restricted. All the Dragheart Luards were restricted with knees.
Same with the gears, right?
No. Chronojet was only restricted with Mazer gear for G Chronojet, which applies to the D Chronojet from the deck set. It does not apply to.
Oh, they restricted the Melum though.
Correct. So another one. So for example, right, G Obero was restricted with Seizui. Messiah was restricted with Messiah. Gears got two different got a choice restriction in addition to the Crestmaker one. So all the Crestmakers basically got choice restricted with their G counterparts. Luard got choice restricted with all Dragheart Luards, so you can't even do any Luard shenanigans. Get that out of here. We're not doing that. Sea Strike Dragon and Largolv got restricted. It is no longer allowed in the format. It is completely banned. The thing about Largolv is it promoted a lot of degeneracy, especially in decks like Granblue, where you revive a bunch of cards, so you could dump it with Big Obadiah, call it back, use the skill Soul Blast 1, return a heal back to your hand. You could return grade 3s back to hand, anything grade 2 or greater. It's just a very, very, the card is too strong. It is just too strong a card to be in the premium format because the other cards in that cycle don't do anything nearly as good as in Largolf. The other ones do like generic things that aren't super great. And Largolf is just it's so good. It really is just an incredibly strong card. And then another hit that happened Dreaming Dragon, Witch of Frogs Melissa are both banned, and Gelja was banned. These bans all happened for very similar reasons. Basically, Genesis is a clan. If you look at every clan in Vanguard, Genesis is one of those clans that it feels like every time it's good, it's because it's doing degenerate things way too well. Another hit that Genesis got that I missed when I was scrolling down was Reverence Rush Dragon is banned. Reverence Rush Dragon, for those that don't know, is a grade 3 that when placed on Rearguard Circle, you Soul Blast 1, choose a grade 3 or greater card from drop and put it on top of your deck. Now, you might be wondering, why is this so strong? That just sounds kind of meh. Because in V-Clan Collection Volumes 1 and 2, we got basically grade 3 heals for every clan in Vanguard. So what you can do in decks like Angel Feather, so Angel Geese, or you can do this even in Genesis, you can put a heal on top of your deck, you can swing with your Vanguard, heal the card. Or you just put the heal on top, pass turn to your opponent, because you know your first damage is going to be a heal. So Fenrir would do things like this. They would quite literally, every turn, they would put a heal back on top of their deck, pass turn, let their opponent swing into them, because they're never giving their opponent damage. So obviously this is not a gameplay pattern that Bushiroad wanted to keep going for even longer, so they restricted that. Now, another loop that started being put into play was the Gelja loop. It involves basically giving one unit plus 100 million power and swinging like 7 times with like a crit. So it's just, you can't guard it. Then there's guard restricting on it. Melissa being restricted. Witcher Frog's Melissa is a card that the Fenrir deck out played, where same with Dreaming Dragon. Dreaming Dragon just a good card in Genesis in general. It just shuffles everything back, so you can just keep your loops going. You can keep your deck refreshed, especially when you're playing things like Fenrir or Regalia, where you want to put all your triggers back into your deck. You just want to make it so your opponent can't win the game. It's very annoying to play against. What Melissa would do is, because of Fenrir, when you Soul Blast a card, you may call it for CB1. Now, what Melissa does, when placed from hand, your opponent looks at the same number of cards from the top of your deck as the number of his or her rearguards and calls them to rearguard with units. Your opponent's abilities do not activate from this call. So what you would do with Fenrir, you would essentially super duper turtle. You would play until your opponent had, let's say, for example, 8 cards left in their deck. They swing with their Vanguard. You go, cool, you have 5 rearguards. I'm going to activate this G-Guard that lets me Soul Blast 1. I'm going to activate a card that lets me play my Witcher Frog Melissa from hand. You will now call 5 cards from the top of your deck. You will drive check 3 times because you are a stride, and now you will die. It's a very degenerate deck. It is quite literally not playing Vanguard at all. I owned the deck for a while. I did not become proficient with the deck, but it is a deck that, when given to someone who puts into practice this deck and game plan, it is very frustrating to play against. It is very difficult to stop, and it's very difficult to neuter. So thank goodness that deck is gone seemingly forever, right? And there were 2 big themes in this ban list. One of them was they wanted to get rid of basically they wanted to get crests out of premium with the G units, because the G units of the Striders all let you be at GB2 at minimum going into your second grade 3 turn, or technically your second stride, right? So that meant that if you did not G-Guard at all, right, your front row is getting at minimum 10k. Now, that might not seem too bad. It's just a persona ride, right? Well, here's the problem. Now what you're doing is you're promoting decks to aggressively G-Guard. So what Hari used to do, I'm only using Hari because it's the Excel clan. It's the most degenerate way to do this, right? So now you have 4 front row rearguard circles. They're all getting plus 10k. No big deal. However, on your opponent's last turn, you G-guarded 3 times. So now they're getting plus 25k. Now, a lot of Hari players in their second stride turn would just straight up dust you. They just dust you. You're at 1k. You can't G-guard anymore. You're at 1, right? No, none of that fun G-guard shenanigans, because you're a grade 1 now. Can't use your grade 3 order. You're at grade 1. Now, what Hari would do is plus 25k to your front row. Dust is now at minimum, right? Dust is a 25k, 38. So Dust is a 53k attacker. Sorry, 63k attacker. My apologies. And with those decks, you were able to extend and do like 15 attacks on a Dust turn. Now, that's really degenerate. So
super degenerate.
That was one of the other themes. The other theme was they wanted to limit the amount of blanket turn-wide floodgate style guard restrict. So for example, unfortunately, this hit affected me and Gabe. They completely banned Hope on
Yeah.
Damp and Variance Hardleg from premium format.
They took a damp on our parade.
Truly, they did. So Variance Hardleg is a card that says, when placed, if your soul has 3 or more cards with the same card name for 3 different card names, really weird. Basically, just have 3 cards that have 3 copies of themselves in soul. Easy way to describe this, right? When your opponent would call from hand to Guardian Circle, he or she must call 3 or more cards at a time. Now, that might not seem too bad. However, when you combine it with Hope on Damp, which says when placed, if your soul has 20 or more cards until end of turn, when your opponent would call from hand to Guardian Circle, he or she must call cards with original total shield 20k at the same time. So what this means is not only do you have to guard with 20k shield, it has to be 3 or more cards. So you can't guard with 2 10ks. It has to be, you can guard with 2 10ks and a grade 3. You can guard with 2 5ks and a 10k. But it just made it so that guarding was so difficult, right? I'm assuming this is the logic they're using. That unfortunately they couldn't let both of them exist. Now, for me personally, I feel like one of them should have stayed, probably Hardleg, because it's a little bit more difficult to get online. Like Hope on Damp, you're just blind going to 20. You're just like, boom, here's a Hope on Damp. Hope you have a way to guard with 20 every time I attack. Like I said, Hardleg's a little bit more difficult.
Mark. I think one thing, because it kept happening to me at regionals, the
Yeah.
key thing to understand with Hope on Damp is you have to guard in increments of exactly 20. So if I attack for what it needs to be a 25k guard, you have to give me 20, and then you have to give me
20.
another
Yeah.
20. Yeah,
Yeah,
because people kept getting
It was,
confused with that.
yeah, people thought that it would be like, oh, I can guard with 40. It's like, no. It has to be 20. You have to guard with 20, then you have to guard with another 20, and then another 20. So what that makes you do in a gameplay pattern, even if, right, let's say, for example, you're just swinging with, let's say, just Hope on Damp itself. It's a 12k beater, right? Well, let's say you call it off of Barrow Magnus. Barrow Magnus gives it 10k in the front row. So that's a 22k base, right? Now, let's say your opponent goes, okay, no biggie. You're going to swing with your 22k into my 13. Cool. You still have to guard with 20. Doesn't matter. Or you're taking the damage. So you're making your opponent either overguard or use so many cards to guard, it's ripping their hand apart. So there were games where I didn't kill my opponent on a Hope on Damp turn, but they went into their turn with 0 cards in hand, and it was a vanilla grade 3 turn, and they swung into me, and I was like, PG, and they pass. So I understand why Hope on Damp needed to go. I totally get it. I just feel like Hardleg could have stayed. You know, I think that now, from just, you know, me and Gabe have had conversations, but I think even now it feels like DI kind of lost its kind of oomph. It hasn't found it yet. I'm sure we'll get there again. You know, I've been tinkering with some stuff. Some people are playing Dontarian, which is a very different take on DI. Honestly, it's a cool deck. I just think that it's a very, very slow deck. It's very tough because one of the things about the Dontarian deck is you're basically a deck out deck. But the problem is the way that you refresh your deck and get back all your cards involves you playing a grade 3 that completely negates most of your defensive plays on the next turn, because you have to play Bladewing Reiji in order to do that. And Bladewing Reiji doesn't have any way to help you with guarding. It doesn't help you kind of turtle or anything like that. So you're kind of shuffling your deck back in and passing to your opponent and being like, all right, hope you don't kill me, and or like hope my hand is good enough, right? So it's a bit rough for DIs right now. Specifically, DIs kind of having a little bit of an identity crisis. And
yeah, like
it's
like as
That's
a
a
as a
good
long
way to put
time.
it. Identity crisis.
I mean, as a DI player, long-time DI player since day one, since set 3, when they were hot tier garbage, DIs, they were top. Like, if you could make a tier list for them on hot garbage, and then you turn that shit upside down because they were on the bottom. But the perk with DIs is they always had some kind of cheese to them that although like through all other stages of the game they could get outclassed by other decks, but the fact is they have this, it's kind of like how D Police is, they have this lingering cheese going on where they can kind of just take a game from you by just doing something like crazy that your opponent has to, if they're, well, if they
Yeah.
weren't prepared enough for it, they just like flat out get punished for it. Or
Sometimes
your
Depot just links you.
yeah, yeah. You can't do anything about it. Like you have to gamble. With DIs, either you get punished for not preparing, or
Yeah.
your opponent consciously has to shift how they play comfortably just to
Yeah.
play around that one thing. The
Yeah,
fact is
definitely.
now like NOK, because it's really it hits at No Life King. You have to play more honest as an NOK player. And I was actually testing without the damp, and like yeah, like there was times I won just because I didn't need the damp necessarily, but there was times where like Hope on Damp would have given me that extra reach I
Yeah.
needed just to push that one extra damage. My opponent had just enough, or he had that freaking OT in his hand and he guarded with it. And I was like I'm playing an honest game now. Like I'm just
Yeah.
being a very honest DI player. There's really nothing that my opponent has to worry about
Yeah, it's
anymore.
very unfortunate because you don't want to be playing a fair game plan, but you don't really have a choice. And
Yeah.
like they did something very similar to Nubatamas as well, which for the record, I think this card should have been gone months ago, years ago, honestly. Because I remember when um, History Collection was announced, they preemptively banned Stealth Beast Kokushigarasu. So what that card does is you Soul Blast 3, discard 2 Sentinels from your hand. It gets plus 15k until the end of turn, and if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, return all of your opponent's rear guards to hand, and if one or more were returned, your opponent chooses 5 cards from his or her hand and discards them. Now, this is pretty crazy, right? Really scary, especially when we're getting History Collection where your main stride up on grade 3 is giving you 2 protects for free. Immediately you have 2 Sentinels that discard. You don't have to draw any PGs. You can play 16 crits, and you will always have 2 Sentinels at one point in the game. Now, the card they let stay, which I think is a much more heinous guard restrict, and it's a much more terrible, terrible thing. Stealth Rogue of Proscription Mizukaze. When placed, Soul Blast 1 grade 3, and until end of turn, your opponent cannot call cards that he or she had called that turn from hand to Guardian Circle. Now, this card combos with Shiranui Rinne. What Rinne does is your opponent chooses 2 cards from their hand and calls them. Now, Mizukaze does not specify cards called from to Guardian Circle. It specifies cards called. So, let's say for example, you have cards in your hand, you're like, "Oh man, all I got is a bunch of grade 1s." Like literally, let's say your hand is like 5 grade 1s and a grade 2. If you call a grade 2 and a grade 1 from the Shiranu Arena, you cannot guard with grade 1s for the rest of the turn with Mizukaze. You have to just take the damage. You do not have a choice. It made for the most heinous guard restricting of all time. And like me personally, I was 2-1, or I was 3-1 at BCS Chicago last year. Sorry, the year before last. My apologies, getting all mixed up. 2023 BCS Chicago. I go in, I hit my Rhino, I get 50k power, 3 crit. Swing at my opponent, hits OT on 5. I'm like, all right, well, hopefully I don't die now. And he just goes into Rene, calls Mizukaze. I had no cards in hand that weren't grade 1s, and I was just like, well, guess I lose.
Oh, you're
Now,
talking about the new Batama trash.
yes, so I could have been upset about getting OT defensively. That's whatever. I'm like, whatever, you know what? It is what it is. The fact that I could not guard, period. Like, at least with Hope on Damp, you can guard with 20k. Like, like you can at least guard. Mizukaze, you cannot guard. Once you have guarded, you cannot do it. And the shark thing that people were doing with this is, I know this happens a lot with Vanguard players where they're guarding and they're kind of guarding one card at a time because they're kind of deciding what they're guarding with and they're doing this. So what people would do, and this is really scummy, and if I find out people are doing this, we're gonna yell. I'm gonna yell at you. Is, let's say for example, right? Your opponent let's say
I know what you're getting at. I know you're gonna say
you're playing Royal Paladins, right? And you have your grade 3 searcher, your top 5 checker, whatever. Let's say you have 2 of those in hand and you have another grade 1, doesn't matter what it is. you go, all right, you're swinging for 12 at my, you're swinging for 30 at my 12, right? You go guard and you put one at a time. Your opponent, what people would do, and I've seen people do this, and it really irritates me, is they would stop their opponent and go, no, you already made a guarding decision. You can't guard with the other ones because you've already called a grade 1. You would have to call them at the same time because people would shark like that. And that is the number one easiest way to get people to not play your card game, is when people are sharking little things like that. So Mizukaze not only promoted a degenerate gameplay experience for people, it also promoted people to act like degenerates too, which is a much scarier thing when you're looking at a format.
Oh, for sure. Like the only time you could shark technically and be more legitimate is like if you play like, I don't know, like I was gonna say foul hurt. If you're playing like a card that when it touches Guardian Circle, you have to resolve a skill. If you play it and then resolve it, like, which lets you draw a card, then it's like, well, now you already just you that's already the end of the guard decision, like guard step. Now you have to do another one.
Yeah.
Which that could be an exception, but yeah, it was kind of the same thing. It's the 3-card guard thing, 2-card guard thing. I remember back in the day, I mean, people were really hard on that.
Yeah, and it's just like it's just not great. Like, I have hated that card ever since I watched it be used at locals, like before History Collection came out. It just sucks, man. And then the other card Nubatama got hit with. Nubatama and Gears specifically got hit very hard on this ban list. So did DI, obviously, but so Sukumorikan.
What they do, man?
So GB2, Counterblast 2, and choose a face down. It's a persona flip, essentially. When this unit is placed on Vanguard Circle, pay the cost. If you do, your opponent chooses 4 cards from his or her hand, binds the rest face down, and at the end of turn, your opponent puts the bound cards with this effect into his or her hand. Now, Shiranui in the Stride deck set, which the big thing about these Stride decks that I don't think people give enough credit to is it's not necessarily just the crests, it's the cards in the decks that support them. So what Shiranui players would do is they would go Sukumorikan on their second Stride, right? If their opponent had like a pretty fat hand. If their opponents, let's say they were at 2 or 3 damage, they stride into Sukumorikan, they call their grade 2 restander, and they call a Varina Esperidia. So they go, cool, you have 4 cards left in your hand, swing with my grade 4, swing with my grade 2, swing with my Vanguard. Oh, look at that, they both restand. Boom, you have 4 cards to guard 5 attacks at minimum. Because, let's say, for example, your Nubatama opponent gets really lucky, which for some reason, Nubatama players, that red OT, that drag Veda, always floats to the top. Yes. It does not matter. So you restand that Vanguard with that OT. They are taking, at minimum, 3 more attacks. So at minimum, 8 attacks. They are taking 8 attacks with 4 cards in hand. Unless they damage check OT, or all 4 of those cards are a way to PG, they are dead. It does not matter. Yeah. So Sukumorikan got hit as well. Shiranui, Nubatama's again, is kind of in the same vein as DI, where there's kind of an identity crisis right now. No one's really sure what to do with the clan. I have quite a few friends that actually play Shiranui, and they're kind of trying to figure out their kind of path. But to kind of end the part with guard restricting, it did seem like Bushiroad was very much saying, like, all right, we need to kind of neuter this guard restricting. And I think a big mistake that they made, and I don't like it, and maybe I'm just biased because I hate this clan, and I think it's stupid, and I think it's the most, like, it exemplifies everything I don't like about Vanguard, where it's just, like, 99% of the time, it just depends on how hard you sack. They left Linka alone. Now, I'm not saying ban Linka. I am saying, however, that if you want to cape Linka, that's fine. Choice restrict it with Dyliner, because the problem with DI is not only does it have arguably the most explosive offense when it comes to like that grade 3 turn, that first stride, they also have arguably the best defense, because Dyliner on first stride, 10k. That's 10k shield for all your grade 3s, right? Cool, no biggie. Well, their first stride's almost always Geoma Glass, which flips another Geoma Glass, which makes it so all your grade 3s have 20k shield. Now, the important thing here is in Premium Collection 2022, They got a G Guard that lets you Soul Blast 1 to add 3 grade 3s back to your hand. So, this means that you are not only the deck that has Guard Break. So, for those of you who don't know what Guard Break does, basically what Linka does is she gives your Vanguards the skill that when your drive check reveals a grade 3, nullify the cannot be hit effects of cards in the Guardian circle. So, for example, let's say you use a Perfect Guard on their Vanguard swing and they have had a Linka. They hit that first drive check and it's a grade 3. You better hope they don't hit crit. Follow it up, because otherwise you're dead. Because 90% of the time that Unibird is restanding and swinging again. So, the issue is that not only does D-Police get the trolliest, sackiest win condition in the game, it also has really, really strong defense. It has access to Taser Rage, which helps put a neutering on decks like Hellhard 8, things like that. So it's just a very... I don't like that deck. I've never liked that clan. I think that clan is incredibly sacky.
I agree.
I just am not... I'm not a fan of the gameplay pattern. And I think that, again, Linka is fine. I've heard people say that guard breaking is fundamental to Depot's identity, which is fine. But again, if you want to keep that identity, then take away the part that's new, which is essentially take away the part that gives you 20k shield on your grade 3s. Not a fan of that. So kind of to round out the rest of this ban list, Gridora is now at 1, which it was already at 2, but it was putting up as many results when it was at 2 than it was at 4. And part of this was because Gridora is just a very strong card. Another part of it is that people just misplayed into the deck. Because people were like, oh, Gridora's can't G-Guard anymore, it's whatever. But the thing is that you could basically spread Ghidorah out over 3 turns. You would Gridora turn 1, then the next turn you would Obturandus. So because you've already Gridora'd, they can't call anything else, right? They probably have gotten rid of their board. So now you Obturandus, they can't call anything. So you're literally stuck with essentially whatever is on your board. Even if you didn't retire your rear guards, and you didn't empty your board, you still can't do anything because you only get at most 3 attacks because you can't call anything unless your board is a bunch of restanders, right? So people played around it very, very poorly. So it was still an incredible deck. And then Katrina went to 1, which a lot of Neo Nectar players were very upset about. Me personally, I'm happy about it because I think that just giving Neo Nectar the ability to have an incredible defensive game plan. I've watched, there are two routes that Neo Nectar players took on that first Katrina stride. They would either add 3 Hanalies to the back row and say, good luck, hope you can kill my Hanalies, which 90% of the time you couldn't, or they just call 3 PGs, add all 3 back to hand because of the Bloom PG lets you add it back to hand with 1 CB, add all 3 copies back to hand. So it's just too much. So now it's looking to be that Musketeers is probably the best Neo Nectar deck, which is cool because it means that people can buy the premium deck, and it's a pretty good deck. You only a couple upgrades, and it comes with now it's a playset of
Katrina anyway.
Now it's a playset of Katrina, and the only other card that got hit on the ban list was a choice restriction between Steam Maiden Mellum and Mazer Gear Dragon, which was very unfortunate for me because my initial plan when I saw the Gears crest restriction was, well, I'll just play V-Jet and then I'll just play Mellum and do my crest anyways. And then I was like, well, can't do that anymore. That kind of sucks.
Yeah, just kind of hit
so
a lot of
it was
Gears.
really just a massive ban list. This is top 3 largest ban list in terms of just sheer cards that Bushiroad hit at one time. So it was really good for the format. It gave us a nice refresh. It's nice. It's really good. We've gotten a good starting point now for a lot of players, and it's just it's really funny because somehow people were figuring out kind of what the ban list would be, and they were kind of hinting at it on Bushiroad, and people were like, oh, it's definitely gonna be this and this, and then some things got hit and we were just like, whoa, what the heck, this is just a massive list. And some people have said, this is not me, I did not say this, but some people have said that WCC and Solomon Vanguard have too much power because a lot of the hits were very, very similar to their own individual ban lists. Now, mind you, I didn't watch their video, so I can't say for sure. I didn't watch it. But nonetheless, it is really shaking up the format. It has made a lot of people very happy. It has made a lot of people very sad. But the good thing is it changed the format. The format is entirely different now, which is what you want in a ban list. You don't want a ban list to make one or two small changes. You want ban lists to completely open up the format. Now, I do think the format's more volatile now than it was before. But I also think that it's a better gameplay experience than someone either aggressively mulliganing for a 1 card or someone like going through and like G guard or G assist. All right, grab nothing. Activate 4 of my ride fixer. Look, don't have it. Look, don't have it. Look, oh, there it is. All right, I'm gonna keep the other one in my hand. So it's a better gameplay pattern for premium, and it's a more new player friendly gameplay pattern because Crest is a very, very rough format for premium players to start in for sure. It's just so strong. The Crest, they very clearly were not created. The standard stride Crest, I should say, were very clearly not created to be played in the premium format because they just are so powerful, especially in combination, like I said, with the history collection cards and the retrains of those history collection strides. So I love this ban list. I think it's a good choice for the game. I do wish that they had not choice restricted Mazer Gear in Melum, but I'll live with it.
That's a personal perspective.
Yeah. Melum is a great card. I love it.
No, Melon's a really good card.
Yeah. No,
Fuck
but I'm.
Melon.
Aw.
Screw Melon. I
Heck
just
Melon,
sorry. I have
man.
PT. I have
Man, it's funny. He
PTSD.
said it was gonna be really short. He took the whole 30 minutes.
Whoa. Listen. I had to go over everything,
No, it
man.
was good. It was good. I think it was
Yeah.
Understandable.
I knew this was gonna be a little long. But at the same time, I think this is a good breakdown. From someone that does know premium, and my perspective is it's always nice that we have a guy that can talk about premium passionately, because at the moment, I would say I'm not a premium expert at all. And I think it's really same with Gabriel at the moment. I think Anthony has a little bit of knowledge of premium, but he doesn't like talking as much. So
I am out of touch with premium, dude. Like the last time I touched premium was like last year during like what, August?
Oh yeah, the one thing I'm actually sad about that didn't get hit is I wanted them to ban Link
Police?
Joker as a clan.
Oh,
No, ban Link Joker the clan, man.
No, man, screw you, bro.
Lock.
Let me get my
I mean,
lock.
to be
That's the
fair,
only fun I have
think
left. It's the only
Lock
fun I have left.
the mechanic lock is really good, but I think the deck is just really outpaced. I believe, right?
I think that genuinely, I think Lock is one of the worst design mechanics in the history of
I
card
agree.
games.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
But going on though, I think
Yeah.
overall, like what you were kind of explaining through, I think the ban list was actually really solid. I remember me and Mark were talking about the ban list when it first came out separately. Mark was like, it's a 8 out of 10. I was like, yeah, I can see that. There could have been a better, like there could have been a couple more things that they hit, but I'll be honest, 8 out of 10 versus like nothing. I will take the 8 out of 10.
Oh yeah, you take the 8 out of 10 every single time, man.
No,
for
no,
sure.
this was one of the best. I think this was one of the best ban lists in a while, right? This was a really good ban list, I believe.
Yeah. That was the first ban list we've gotten in almost a year.
Yeah,
it was
actually,
very
I
much
remember. Yeah,
very much needed, very much welcome. Glad it happened.
yeah. Now we
And
need
now
more tournaments to play in, man.
Yeah, exactly, right. And I think that
Well-
the cool thing about premium is there's a lot of places that would love to do it. And what I forgot to mention earlier is I think the best way, or a way that we could show Bushy Road that like premium is like what people want to play is you would need to have a premium tournament the day of Lyrical Cups in the same city or the same general area as the Bushy Road event and have more players than it. Because I think it would be possible. The problem is the logistics for it are an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
But what were you saying, Gabe? I'm sorry.
No. I was just thinking in my head. I'm like, well, they did good. They did do a good job at tearing down the foundation to allow ourselves to rebuild ourselves with the new format.
Yep.
But now you got to build up. You got to add some stuff, reinsert some stuff. You want to take away my cheese? Then fine, give me some like lactose-free version of cheese for DI, something I can work with. I don't want to be honest anymore. You know, like you don't just go cold turkey with the diet here. You want lock to be banned as a mechanic? Well, just revise it a little bit. Give us some new way to do it or something like that. Make it more
absolutely.
fair. Bring back some endangered species, which is great nature. Bring back just reinsert some more stuff. Because what's the cool? What I was thinking, Mark? What really cool thing? I mean, they can honestly take a page out of their previous book of what they did in V Premium of bringing back old cards. Why don't you imagine having a set of just bringing back new cards updated for Premium, and then they add energy into the game? Imagine like Shahart coming back as a new G Stride unit, but with energy.
Yeah, one of
all the old school like G unit bosses, because Premium is really G format.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. Premium is G format. So
we were talking
Premium is like
one of the
P/G format.
One of the guys that goes to all of our locals, he and I were talking yesterday, and he was like, "Well, what if they give us like because the stride decks we got last year were all Legion decks, or not Legion, sorry, Limit Break." And he was like, "Well, what if all the original Limit Break units all got their own like stride deck set?"
That'd be kind of cool.
And I was like, wait a second now, it's pretty good. So I'm looking, I'm like, Leopold, that's pretty good. Get a retrain, give me some Excel markers, and that'd be a cool little product. And Limit Break is a very popular mechanic. So I think it's really where we got the origins of damage denying is really that mechanic specifically, because that was our third set released in English was that set. So I think I think that would be a really neat thing they could do. But even again, like I said, just give us a clan collection every year. Like, it doesn't have to be a massive one. It doesn't have to be like you're guaranteed. Just something that makes it worthwhile, or make it feel like it's worthwhile. Because I can tell you what 90% of premium players do almost all year is just slowly pick up the SPs for their deck. And when they're done max raritying their clan, they're like, all right, bro, I'm done. I don't buy cards. Like, give us cards to buy. We'll buy them. I promise we'll buy them. We spend so much money on these cardboards, man. Just give us a set a year. We will spend the money. It will be worth the R&D. But a bigger problem is, and this is like the baseline problem with premium, is Japan doesn't play it very much. Because when the original V-boot happened, a lot of stores threw away their product and stopped carrying Vanguard. Because a hard reboot of a game had never been done before. It had never been done, and they were like, well, this is going to suck, and it's never going to work. And then it ended up not sucking, and it ended up working out really well for them. And then, it started sucking again. But now it's working out really well. Like, D format is really helping the popularity of just the game in general. It's just going up. It's just
don't say D format, it's the binds.
No. I call it D format because as much as I don't like Overdress, specifically that era of Vanguard, if that era of Vanguard had never happened, most players wouldn't be in the game right now.
And that's fair.
Because D format was when the ride deck came in, and that's how a couple people I know got into the game. They're like, oh well, before you could miss ride and like G assisting still feels bad. It doesn't matter if you whiff or not. It still feels bad, but you're telling me I don't whiff anymore? I like don't have to worry about G assisting? That's all? It's like, yeah, it's great. So as much as I dislike Overdress, I will give it its props for kind of giving us a nice little segue to get people into Vanguard.
Yeah, like I said, it's really good.
I give that extra credit to people that made Divine's. Divine's development team was like they knew what they were doing.
Yeah. Divine's development team refreshed Standard as a whole for sure. Yeah. 100%.
I mean,
I agree with you.
Divine encouraged me to actually jump the gun and get into it because I still was kind of like half-hearted with Overdress.
Yeah, look, if only the big major thing with premium right now that it still doesn't happen. It's never going to happen because it's just not
The
happening.
OT
Is
band.
the OT getting banned?
Yep,
Honestly,
I
another
knew you were gonna
card,
say that.
another card that I think probably will be on the chopping block at some point is Bracing Angel Ladder.
Yeah, that
Because
card
with
is so
Bracing,
good.
that card is really good, but the problem is that it feels, because it's a Regalis piece, and for some reason, all right, this is a small tangent. For some reason, Bushiroad keeps going, all right, guys, we know how much you love OTs. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna keep making these singular, like, one of mechanics on all these cards. First we had OT, then we have Regalis pieces. Now we're having ace units. Eventually, we're gonna have so many one-ofs in the deck that our whole deck is gonna be one-ofs, right?
Man, might as well
Because they just won't stop
play
making one-of
Wheels,
mechanics.
right?
Yeah,
We're
or
just gonna be playing
something, man.
Highlander.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're all gonna be playing a Highlander deck. Like, it's just like it's these sacky one-ofs, and the decks that can search them, right, are gonna feel a lot better than the decks that can't. Speaking as someone who specifically plays two decks that can just search out Bracing Angel Ladder, let me tell you, it's a lot better than playing decks that can't search that out, because you just feel like a god when you're like, oh, you know what? You're playing against your Hari opponent. You're like, you know what? I really feel like you're gonna try and blow up my columns next turn. So I'm just gonna use this grade 3. I'm gonna use my Gear Dog 8 to add an Angel Ladder to my hand and discard the other copy of Gear Dog 8 for free, so that I have it for next turn when I know you're gonna try to blow up my columns. It's so good. Angel Ladder is a very, very good card, and I think it will be on the chopping block at some point. But I also think that if we're gonna put that card on the chopping block, we need to make sure that Gruesome Scythe Dragon is gone, because Gruesome Scythe Dragon is a Denial Griffin that does not function like any of the other Denial Griffins in the format. The other Denial Griffins all choose a card, so resist gets around it, whereas Gruesome Scythe chooses a column. So because Gruesome Scythe chooses a column, I feel like, me personally, we should be not doing that. We should be changing that to either say choose all rear guards, choose up to 2 rear guards in that column, or just ban it. Because I think that interaction specifically is like not great and not very intuitive, considering the rest of your format, all your other Denial Griffin effects involve choosing a unit specifically.
Like I just give us something, Bushi. In the worlds of remaster, remakes, and remake part 2 and everything, you can remaster all these classic units.
Absolutely, yes. I think that is absolutely something you can do. And like, I would love to see, honestly, like, if they want to give us like one set, like if we're looking at Premium Collection 2022, right? Those sets are timeless. We were talking the other day, and I made sure to tell in the various locals group chats I'm in, like, hey, and like you guys can attest to this. I was like, hey, if you guys are looking at premium decks, like, look into 2022, buy your strides now for the clan you're looking at, because they're all going up. Those cards will stay value forever, which is another reason why people love Eternal formats, is because it feels like your cards retain their value. Whereas in, like, standard, cards can go up and down and up and down and up and down. But in premium, it's like, all right, I paid, $50 in total for these 6 cards. In a year and a half, they're still going to be $60. And maybe they'll go down a little bit, maybe they'll go up a little bit, but they generally hover around the same price. So you're never feeling bad about making that investment with an Eternal format. For example, right, Heltrata was a card that's been $15 plus for the longest time. The card recently has gone up to $30. So everyone that bought Heltratas at, $10 or $15 are like, oh yeah, feels pretty good, right? Highlander players feeling pretty good for a lot of reasons right now. And like, it's just, the thing about premium versus standard is it feels like your investment always pays off eventually. Whereas, like, if you invested in Flagberg in set 3, right? You haven't felt like your investment's paid off yet, right? So
I'm
it's rough.
still waiting. I have 2 places of that deck.
Yeah, like it's just rough, man. But like all these cards, it feels a lot safer to make an investment when you know that generally, unless you're buying the investment in order to be a degenerate, that you're going to be safe. Like I bought like all this stuff for a Kagero deck a couple years ago, or a couple years. It was like a year ago. It was when Vanguard came out. And I spent like $60 on it, and now it's worth like 65 for all of it. So like I'm selling it to someone because I don't play it anymore. But like it feels like a safe investment, you know? And that's the cool thing about Eternal formats. And I think that's the cool thing about Vanguard in general is that your Eternal, it feels like you're rewarded for playing your clan for the long haul and not just like hopping around over and over and over again, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I mean that's just my take on it, you know. Premium is great, standard is great. Bushy Road, please like understand the reaction to Summerfest is like, you know, not great. But
Bro,
you know,
just you know what they have to do? They have they have the marketing power with the anime. Imagine if they made a separate spin-off premium anime and it'll have the legacy characters coming in. There's so many like fan service
Oh my
things you
god.
can do with
yeah.
it.
Oh my
And
god.
then we're like, we combine forces, and then Mal comes in and rides Varga's stride. What?
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Yo,
That'd be sick.
Like
that
you
would actually be
like literally
fun.
like literally Akina has to go in but then he's powered up with the like Kai now and other like dragon
Oh
my
like
god.
legacy players like
Oh god.
infuse the power into a stride and then bam it's like a Varga stride. Oh
Wait,
shit.
isn't that happening in like the
Yeah, the
Skyrim manga
manga is
already?
kind of like it, but it's still standard though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they need to do that for premium. Like literally do that for premium. Bring back that revitalize that excitement. All the Aquaforce players will be as wet as the ocean if Leon comes back and then he just starts going crazy with some new crap.
With
Oh my god. People will play premium and then you create a new trial deck set for every single nation.
that would
Yeah,
actually be
great.
like, but
Like, man.
yeah, I would say
No,
this
except
is
Bermuda. Bermuda gets nothing.
the hate. But I would say this is probably a good wrapping point. As much as I would love to talk about this more, I would say let's kind of give our overall thoughts about like our topics today. I will start with Mark because I know that he did get the
Sure.
whole 30 minutes, but we'll still give him an opportunity to wrap
Listen.
up.
Yay. I think that the big takeaway that I hope all of you get from this is look at whatever decks you're interested in premium, make the investment now. Because you will not feel bad about making that investment if you truly want to dedicate time and energy into the clan.
What about you, Gabe?
Yeah.
What's your wrap up or your overall thoughts?
Well, treats like if you play standard and you enjoy standard, keep going at it, keep enjoying it. But if you get to a point where I say you plateau with the game, you felt like you maximized everything you felt like you can do, go take a look into premium. Just it's a new type of card game, but it's still Vanguard. So it'll be refreshing. And then when you get tired of one, you go with the other, you go back and forth. And I promise anyone out there, don't be discouraged. If you go online to any like forum that you're already in and you ask, it's like, hey, is there any premium players that can help me with something? Premium players will absolutely do it. Like honestly,
Yep.
it kind of feels like premium is almost like Dark Souls, the video game to people where like they're discouraged by the difficulty. Don't worry, get into it.
Yep.
Once you get over that big hump, like you will feel like reinvigorated with the game, and it will be like you're playing Vanguard again all over again. And it's like it's like you're learning Vanguard all over again. That's what
Yep.
it felt for me as a like whatever a 10+ year vet of the game.
Yeah.
How about you, Anthony? I know that you weren't really speaking much today, but like, what's your overall thoughts of hearing us rant?
He's
I'm
vibing.
not, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. So from what Mark said about the BC, like what is it BSF? BSF.
Mhm.
I mean, it kind of makes me. I mean, I wasn't planning to go into regionals anyway because my current schedule and everything. But hearing like there's not like gonna be a lot of premiums, like even though I don't play premium that much often now. Uh, it kind of just like deters me from even going because I do like playing premium in my opinion more than lyrical. Even as much as like lyrical's fine, I rather play my Link Joker deck that I spend like a good amount of money on, which has more interaction, well, for me, than just normal lyrical.
Had to specify for him for interaction, not
Look,
your.
Yeah,
as
for
a
me,
fellow,
not for you.
as a
I
fellow
get that, but
Legacy
you know.
Chaos player, as a fellow Legacy Chaos Breaker player, I feel you.
Yeah, I mean, also my main issue, I don't know, cause like I think cause everyone the reason I don't have fun with premium that much anymore because mostly because everyone locals knows my deck in and out, so they know every single out for me. That's why I don't really try to play premium around much, you guys. So, and if I mean if someone wants a more harder format to play, but it gets more rewarding if you're knowing how to play it, yeah, just play premium. I mean, I had to self-taught myself to play premium because you guys are too good at premium, so I had to self-taught myself. But it wasn't that hard. Just watch a few videos and watch you guys play, and I picked up premium instantly.
Yeah, and as much as I don't want to like promote, I guess I could have saved this for the promotion thing, but there are a lot of uh premium like gameplay videos on YouTube. So definitely watch those because that'll help you kind of decide what deck you like too, even if you're not like an aesthetic player and you're like a mechanical player. That'll help you out too.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay. Let me overall wrap up. I would say I hope Bushiroad definitely does something with the scheduling in the future. Hopefully that they will be more inspired by our small topics that we throw out, other players like sending them emails apparently. I hope these are things that will kind of show them some results that we do like our premium format. And I mean, I'm not saying like anything bad or good about the Lyrical Cup. I mean, me personally, no, but I would like not really say like kill it, but like I would say we premium is a legacy format, and that is something that's needed in any card game, right? Even Pokemon or you know other card games have it, right? So I would say it is definitely needed, and then I would say for getting into premium, as long as you have a good community that can help you out to get into the format, it's not too crazy once you figure out how to work. And I actually think premium could be fun in its own ways, but I also don't want to say like just don't lean into premium all the way because standard does have a good aspect as well. So I would say just enjoy both formats, and I would say inspire your friends to also play both formats if you only play standard only or premium only. Inspire each other and then play play overall Vanguard. I think Vanguard's overall one of the funnest games that I have played. With overall experience of 10 plus years of playing card games, slash Vanguard. So, that's pretty much it.
Look, guys, just remember this: if you get into premium, you only have to build one deck because that one deck is enough to occupy a lot of your time tinkering with and fun and having fun learning the game. Again, you just need to build one deck.
yeah, I mean, like to this day, I still, even though I don't touch Chaos Breaker that much, I still tinker with my deck once in a while, just have fun with it.
Yeah, like I feel like I'm getting my money's worth with just my one deck that I built for DIs, and I feel like there's always something I'm trying to like figure out and learn. So
Yeah.
you just need one deck. You
Yeah.
don't need like 10.
Yeah.
But
So I would go ahead and do the outro. Let's go ahead and start with you, Gabe. Do you want to do your shout outs before we end the podcast?
Just shout outs to JP's Curtain Call. They are affiliate of mine and also David as well. They are going to have some nice bundles coming up. So definitely check them out. Check out the dice things, which I gotta actually do a review on my channel. I forgot. But anywho,
Well, you haven't been
shout
filming in a
outs.
while.
Yeah, well, I've been busy, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, just shout outs to all the all my subscribers out there that may be watching, all the subscribers of Iamvanguard, all the subscribers of anyone for Vanguard, any content creator out there, and just shout outs to all of our locals, Boba Hero, Curio Cavern, all the Maryland people as well. Give them some love. Superstar Card Gaming, Gritty Goblin. So DMV represent.
Anthony, go ahead.
Absolutely.
Even shout out to my favorite VTubers. Shout out to you guys for actually hanging out with me, and shout out to
You mean babysitting you?
yeah, babysitting is more accurate. Yeah, babysitting is more accurate.
There you go.
I mean, I am the youngest between all three of you here.
I'm Unk.
All right, Mark. Do your thing. It's been a while, so.
Yeah. Shout out to all of our locals: Curio Caverns, Boba Hero, Swords and Spoons, Superstar. Shout out to every DI player affected by this ban list. Also, every Great Nature player. Don't worry, Narukami won't be good forever. Just kidding, it always will be. Yeah, and I guess shout out to the new players, man. Because if it wasn't for you guys, this game would have died 5 years ago. So, yeah. And shout out to
Frankie?
yeah, man. Shout out to Frankie, man. Shout out to Nar Samurai Gaming.
Use the code Blackbeard.
Yeah, code Blackbeard Mark at checkout. You save 5%.
Oh,
Or
is it
you
5%
use
now?
code. Yeah, it's 5%.
Oh,
yeah, or code
nice.
Eclipse. Save 5%. Yeah, man, it's gonna be a fun Vanguard season. This next BCS season, I think, is gonna be the biggest one we've ever had. Get all your friends playing Vanguard that all like card games. I think it'll be worth it for everybody involved. And also shout out to Peter, Shravan, and Rudy, the three guys from our locals going to Worlds for Premium. I will be going with them just as the homie because I want to go to Japan, and I have been fortunate enough to be in a financial position where that is a possibility. So,
Oh, shout out to
yeah,
Star
man.
too for making standard, right?
Yeah, Star's going for standard. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
All right.
Star is going for standard. So it's awesome. It's awesome. Can't wait.
All right. Here I go. So, obviously JP Curtain calls. Shout out to you. And I am actually getting my dice and my promos, very soon. So make sure you guys place your orders with JP for the second volume coming out soon. Hopefully. He hasn't announced it when, but he will announce it. So make sure you get those promos because the second wave volume is really, really good. Those promos are absolutely amazing. And then make sure you guys use my code for a 5% discount at lowercase AMVG. Shout outs to Blue 52 Cafe, located in the Philippines. They opened about 2 weeks ago. Pretty successful. So if you guys are listening to my podcast from the Philippines, make sure you guys go check them out. Go play some card games there because the owner there absolutely loves card games, especially Vanguard. Because I am actually gonna get him into Vanguard when he comes back from the Philippine trip, so he'll probably shoot some products there is what I'm hoping. And everyone else did the shop shout out, so I will skip it for today.
Fair enough.
All right, we are almost at 2 hours, so let's go ahead and wrap this up. Thanks for listening, and we will hopefully be back next week is the plan, but if not, see you in the next one.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
We'll be back eventually.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Got it.